Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up. What's going on, Bears fans? Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Nicholas Moreano with you in this Bears OTAs recap episode. All three of us were at Halas Hall in Lake Forest earlier today. That's why if you're watching live, we are live a little bit later on in the day. And if you're just getting your podcast fix, we appreciate you being here too. What'd you guys think? Carm, what'd you think about your OTAs experience today?
You know, first OTA of 2023 for me, Adam and Nick, and I thought you both had a great performance. I thought Hoge's posture on the sideline was strong. Nick was definitely doing good things, taking strong notes and staring down other reporters who wanted to be like Nick. I thought that on the field, I think that's what you're asking about. Justin Fields looked solid to me. A lot of just easy going, nice moments in time. I think the three of us were hanging out for a second. I was like, yeah, that throw to Cole Kmet was maybe a second late. Let's trade him. Obviously, that was tongue in cheek, but it is interesting, and I know that we're going to get into it. Those who were missing, but I thought those that were there, it looks like a team that's doing what they should be doing at this time of year.
Yeah, you guys, real quickly, I mean, it was a shorter practice today. Matty Reflus did allude to that in his press conference after the practice, but it was a good day because, you know, we all three were there. We have different perspectives on the practice, and we're going to share all that, and also all the press conferences. A lot of people talking today, Wednesday here at Halas Hall. So we're going to get into all that and share our top takeaways.
In case you missed it, we did put out a shorter recap video already. So at the end of this show, you can also check that one out. Appreciate you doing that, sharing it wherever you might want to share it with people. We will start, as we do with every practice recap show, the best and worst of what you saw today. Nick, we'll start with you.
Okay. I think the best thing I saw today, just from the practice itself, and you mentioned it too, Adam, is the sequence of plays that we saw from Tyler Scott, kind of going back to back from PJ Walker. Was able to make a couple catches, and he did that on the right side, was moved over to the left, just making a sequence of catches, just kind of showing up with that second team offense. So really liked what I saw from Tyler Scott in that portion of practice and just kind of standing out amongst all. Obviously, the Bears have a lot of wide receivers, but that's going to be one of the best things. I'll kick it over to whoever wants to share their next best.
Yeah, I'll jump in. There was one sequence where Justin went to a DJ back-to-back, and I don't know. I'm starving for the Bears to have a connection of eliteness between the quarterback and the wide receiver, and they were moving down the field. He went to him. He went right back to him, and the second throw was not a great throw, but DJ making the catch. And I will be honest, I was a little slow to the whole concept. Like, where's DJ Moore? Where's number one? Oh yeah, one is the quarterback, Carm. That would be Justin Fields. He's wearing number 2 out there, and they're connecting, and that put a big smile on my face just to see that in action for the first time because I missed the first OTA. So I think that was my highlight of the day as far as things that we saw on the field.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a Tyreek Stevenson interception as both the best and the worst, because anytime you have an interception, and in this case it came against Justin Fields, so you could turn around and be like, well, that's the worst. Don't want to see number one throwing interceptions. However, to me it's the best because you get a rookie corner who you want to be making plays. I thought it was very interesting talking to Bears defensive passing game coordinator John Hoge, who have no idea if he remembers me or not, but you know, he was here before, years back, long time. I mean, NFL assistant, but certainly with the Bears, he's been around, and he's back on the staff in an elevated role, handles the cornerbacks, and has the title of defensive passing game coordinator. He talks Stevenson up in terms of understanding concepts, which you always like to hear with rookies early on. Said guys that understand football. pick things up quickly, and then has the instinct to break on the football. Now, what he didn't like about that interception was that he sort of double caught it. Wasn't a clean catch. Did count as an interception, but I guess he dropped one last week. John Hoge referred to that. That maybe that was I don't remember seeing that. So maybe that was in a day that we were on the practice field. So pure coach right there. Liked the play from his young rookie, but wanted to see it even cleaner.
Makes sense.
Go ahead, Nick.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, as coaches, you want to see the play executed in all phases, and he's got to have that clear interception, that clear catch to make it maybe an interception. But real quickly, just to go to the worst thing I saw. Well, I didn't see this particular player, but it's Nate Davis, and I think that's a player that obviously the Bears gave some good money to. Supposed to be your right guard, but we've been seeing a lot of Rashad Coward in that spot right now for the Bears. And when you see the starting five for the Bears come week 1, that's not going to be the case. It's going to be Nate Davis. And Matty Eberflus was asked, is this injury related? No, well, he said it's just not here. So, and that's all he can really comment on about Nate Davis. So hopefully that changes soon. We'll have one more OTA practice next week to maybe see if that ends up changing for the Bears offensive line.
It is super interesting, right? He got a big money deal. The Bears, nobody was screaming, go get a right guard, go get a right guard, go get a right guard, but they wanted Nate Davis. And then, it's May 31st. Let's not go crazy. But it is interesting that he's not here. And, Flus made a point that he makes basically in every press conference around OTAs saying, we think that it's extremely important that you're here and that we're going to coach up who is here. This is a guy that's trying to get acclimated to a new team. I mean, to me, it's like totally different than Jaylon Johnson. Jaylon Johnson knows what he's doing here. This guy needs to, you're talking about meeting your teammates. You're talking about learning the offense. I get that he's a veteran, but it does feel a little bit off to me. You got all this money. I would think the Bears are, and they're not letting on fully, but I would think they're probably irritated about this.
Real quickly, guys, Ja'Tari Carter, Rashad Coward, 69, last year regime. Ja'Tari Carter, 6'9". See it in the comments here. Sorry about that. But I'm surprised. Why did that name? I still remember that name. Ja'Tari Carter was in the guard position when
might be the same person.
Definitely not the same person. No, and there's a reason why I just let it slide, because there's just some names, former players, I refuse to say out loud. The Rashad Coward. I want to hear your Nate Davis thoughts here, Hoge. Well, I thought Cody Whitehair brought up a good point that Nate Davis played in this scheme in Tennessee. It is not like he doesn't know the offense, and he is a veteran. So I just think it's you want your guys there. And I will say it's pretty typical that your players that have just signed show up because they're getting acclimated to the new team, their new schemes, and maybe it's not. And I already have actually written this for my newsletter coming out tomorrow morning. There's just different levels of acceptance. It's a case-by-case basis when it comes to OTAs. These are voluntary. By the letter of the NFL law, they do not have to be there. But it's just not the same thing depending on what your situation is and what position you're playing. Lamar Jackson not showing up on the first day when he just got the highest paid player in the NFL, and he's the quarterback, and they're installing a new offense in Baltimore. That is ridiculous. That is one I have no problem, losing my mind over how bad of a look that is. And I would apply that, quite frankly, to pretty much almost every quarterback. Quarterback should be there. They don't have to be, but they should be there. Okay? Your right guard not being there, no big deal. I agree it doesn't look great that he just signed a new contract and he hasn't been on the team before and he's got to get used to his coaches and all that, but it's not something that's going to prevent the Bears from winning and losing games. Whereas Aaron Rodgers, I guess good for him for showing up to Jets OTAs this year. But I think you don't have to make too big of a leap to say that him not being at OTAs last year hurt the development of all those young wide receivers. who started to look better as the season went along, and they started to win games as the season went along, and they almost snuck into the playoffs. And maybe if Rodgers is there for the entire offseason program, Christian Watson turns into Christian Watson a little bit earlier in the season. They win one more game, and they're in the playoffs. I don't know, but it's just totally different to be talking about, that type of position, or even, quite frankly, Jaylon Johnson's position as a younger cornerback in a contract year compared to a right guard who could not be more solidified because he just signed a new contract, and it's going to be fine.
All right. I don't want to be OTA podcaster angry guy at all, but who's the Bears right tackle? That would be a rookie, Darnell Wright, right?
Yeah.
When's the last time Cody Whitehair played center? It's been a minute. Who's the left guard? Oh, Tevin. How often has he played there? Who's the left tackle? Braxton. Oh, he's coming into his second year. This is a new group, man. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not saying that you're, in the trenches. You're not. They're wearing shorts. I get it, but I'm not huge into people that think they are above the team. If he's hurt and he can't play, but he's showing up like Chase Claypool today was, a soft tissue injury, whatever. He's sitting there in a golf hat or a fishing hat or whatever the hell he was wearing, but he wasn't playing. But he's on the field. He's out there. He's hanging out. And I don't know Nate Davis. I haven't talked to Nate Davis. Maybe this is all fine, but I just find it odd. Like, hey, man, you're getting 30 million buckarooskies. That's a lot of dough. These are some new teammates. You got a lot of young people out here. If nothing else, you could be seeing things and making some comments or just shaking hands. I don't think that's too much to ask. Unless, if he's got some huge family thing going on or personal stuff, then I get it. But, we don't know that.
Look, I guess what we also don't know, guys, is Nate Davis attending Zoom meetings or, asking questions. Like we got that information about Jaylon Johnson, which is good, which I think is a good sign for Jaylon Johnson that his presence is still around, even though he's physically not there. We don't know that about Nate Davis, but again, we won't know. And I'm pretty sure about when it comes to mandatory. I have a feeling that Nate Davis is going to be there. I just do. And get acclimated to all the new players that you were just mentioning, Mark.
Well, and that's where you draw a line. It would be 100% ridiculous if he wasn't there for mandatory mini camp when he just signed a new contract. Look, I mean, this is a deep conversation, and we don't do the whole podcast on it. In general, I think for the money NFL players make, they should live in the cities that they play in and show up when there's team activities going on. But the bottom line is that's not what the rules are. And they have the means to live elsewhere and raise their children elsewhere and, show up when they want to. I do think it shows, and again, case by case, I don't think you can make a blanket statement, but for at least the players that do show up, I think it shows who's all in all the time.
There you go. That's right.
And, I'll just give one example, Cody Whitehair, other than I think a couple excused absences here and there, I cannot remember him ever not being, but he also lives in the area.
Yep.
Last I knew, Jaylon Johnson lives in California and has his family out there. So, and that's, I don't know if you guys remember this, but when he did his interview on 6-7 to score the day after the Washington game, when they had the mini by 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, whenever he did that interview the very next day, he was already back sitting in his kitchen in California with his daughter on his lap during that interview. So, and to give a little bit more context to what Nick was just referring to, talking to John Hoge today, Hoge said that Jaylon Johnson has been zooming into meetings and has been watching practice film and asking questions via text almost every other day is the way he put it. That was a direct quote. And I don't know, that doesn't sound like a guy who's, headed towards a contract holdout.
And Hoge also threw into the back end of that he thinks he'll be here sooner than later. So I like that Jaylon's engaged. Jaylon's got beef. He wants to get paid. This is a negotiation. That's not what's going on with Nate Davis. It's totally different. Jaylon is showing some upset. And will the Bears pay him? I don't know. It feels like we're going down a potential Roquan Smith game here, and Jaylon's got to obviously handle himself better than Roquan did. Hopefully he will. I'd like to see Jaylon Johnson get a contract and stay with the Bears. I think he could be a helpful piece as we move forward.
Yep. So I don't know. I don't think it's that. I just really don't think it's that big of a deal. I think the Jaylon Johnson story is way bigger than Nate Davis. But I'm also acknowledging it's a little weird to have a brand new free agent signee not be there. And just for another example, if it was Tremaine Edmonds, I'd have a bigger problem with that one.
Yeah.
Because he's virtually the quarterback of the defense. And he hasn't been playing in the same defense. And so it depends which position, which situation, and just got to go from there.
Well, just to clarify, do you think that Johnson is making a mistake not being at OTAs?
I don't think he's helping his case. No, and I went over this last week. I don't care what level you are coaching. You are annoyed when your players aren't there. I gave this example last week of coaching youth baseball and finding out that we got a bunch of players that are missing for a huge portion of June. They're kids. They have their parents are taking them on vacation. It's what you do when the school year ends. I totally understand that. But is there this part of me as the coach? It's like, what the hell, man? It's baseball season. Yes, of course I am. And that's, so I don't care what level you're talking about. There is a level of annoyance with any coach in the world when your players aren't there. So NFL, top of the food chain, biggest league that exists, players making that much money, even if it is voluntary, of course they're annoyed that these players aren't there. Of course. No question about it.
No, I get that they're annoyed. I think you can hear it when the Flus tries to be nice about it. It's pretty clear. And you're saying that he's not helping himself. Nick, you agree with that?
I don't look with Jaylon Johnson's there. Obviously, he knows his defense, knows his role in this defense, knows where he's going to line up every day. Is it beneficial? I think it's beneficial for him to get the camaraderie with his new linebackers. There's a lot of newness on that defense. So I think there are benefits for him being there, but I still think, we know what Jaylon Johnson brings to the table. He's going to be fine once he gets here. But like you said, same with the offensive line. There's a lot of new players there. Same with this defense. I think it would be beneficial for him to at least get that connection with a lot of those new guys that are in that core defense right now.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if behind the scenes, Poles / Flus / whoever else, not John Hoge, at least not by his comments today, but like, why you're not here? Basically F him, like whatever. Or are they like, no big deal. He'll be here. Not going to hold it against him. No hard feelings. It's probably somewhere in the middle, I would guess. But it just, if you go back to last year at this time, Flus put Jaylon into the old second string. It is since this regime has been in here, it has never screamed out that Jaylon Johnson is their guy.
That was an interesting nugget you just brought up that I kind of forgot about.
I mean, that happened.
Yeah, him running with the twos last year. So
you clearly your best cornerback, and you're making a point with him. Yep,
it's true. Yeah.
And he went out and had a pretty damn ass good year too, for the record. I mean, he didn't have the amount of takeaways that they want, but can't say he didn't play well.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
And Tony bringing up in the comments here, there's a couple rookies cornerbacks eyeing up his spot. I would be there. John Hoge talked those rookies up today too. He mentions Smith from Minnesota too. I mean, I think he's walking a fine line there. So, all right. Quickly though, want to tell you about a new sponsor for CHGO that I'm really excited about. I've worked with them a little bit in the past, and as somebody who grills a lot, this is a go-to. Omaha Steaks with Father's Day right around the corner. What do you give to the man who has everything? Well, Father's Day experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to put a smile on the big guy's face this summer with hand-selected packages. We all got ours. It's a great setup. Comes in a nice styrofoam cooler. It's all iced up, frozen, and good selection of different things that came in there. There was some pork chops, some steaks, some burgers. They give you the whole deal. So head over to omahasteaks.com and use promo code, here we go, CHGO Bears.
Damn right.
More specific promo codes on this one, guys. We got to go CHGO Bears at checkout, not just CHGO. Promo code CHGO Bears at checkout. You'll get $30 off your qualifying order. And again, packages can include pork, tender, bacon wrap, filet mignon, or gourmet grillables, air chilled boneless chicken breast, burgers, jumbo franks. Franks are in my box. And many more favorites. Don't forget to save room for dessert. Most gift packages come with 4 delicious caramel apple tartlets. Those are go-to. I always like taking a little scoop of vanilla ice cream and throwing it on top of those too. I might have to. I got some. You know what? I'm going with that tonight, without a doubt. Also, check out the other hand-selected packages that are guaranteed to make Dad's day, and it's because dads want steak. Quite frankly, I know I do. So whether he's your father, father-in-law, or father figure, or maybe me, he's the guy who is always ready to step up when you need him most. If this Father's Day, show him the love with the only gift that's as unforgettable as he is, the mouth-watering perfection of Omaha Steaks, from perfectly aged, so tender steaks to hand-selected gift packages. Omaha Steaks makes it easy to give Dad what he really wants. Order today. You get $30 off with promo code CHGO Bears, and every purchase is backed by their unconditional money-back guarantee. Minimum order may be required. See site for details. Go to omahasteaks.com and enter CHGO Bears for $30 off.
Yeah, go do that. Like Adam said, Father's Day is coming up. Go to Omaha Steaks, give him a great gift. What you should also do, too, for your dad or for anybody, got to check out your Athletic Greens. With 1 scoop of your AG1s, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day off right. This mixture of ingredients helps your immune system, gives you energy, and improves your focus. And that's why I take my Athletic Greens, and you should too. What's awesome about your AG1s is that it costs less than a cup of coffee a day. It also helps support better sleep quality and recovery, which we all definitely need. And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. Super simple. No need for a million different pills or supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bears. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bears to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutrition insurance.
All right, keeping things rolling here on our CHGO Bears OTA recap podcast. I'm not going to lie. I kind of I don't like that first segment went into who's here, who's not here. It is such an overblown thing that the media is guilty of, including ourselves, evidently. There were some interesting things that I really do want to get to from today. One observation I had in the middle of practice today that I had sort of forgotten about, and it sort of put things in perspective for me. But Chris Emma brought up in the middle of practice some random players out there, on the roster, how ready are you for the bottom of the roster type situation. And it made me realize that we are a long way away from last year when we were playing Bear or Not a Bear. Our favorite game here at CHGO. Bear or Not a Bear. There's a lot less candidates this year. That means Ryan Poles has been working. Because there was a time last year during OTAs when we were playing Bear or Not a Bear with George McCaskey on the sideline.
For the record, I did see George today when I was heading to my car. He gave me the wave, which I'm going to take as to mean that he loves the show and he thinks we're doing a great job. So thank you, George. We appreciate it. But yes, this roster is getting more familiar there, team. I still am. Maybe it's because it was my first OTA and not like you guys with your second OTA. But I'm looking out there. I'm like, 13 Right. Okay, there's Tyler Scott. That's not Byron Pringle. Thank you. I'm glad we moved on from the 13.
You covered this already with your numbers. You confused Justin Fields and you thought DJ Moore was wearing number 1.
Yeah,
you actually should be suspended for like 3 days.
I don't disagree with that, but I'm just, it to me, it's not about the number. It's about the athlete. It's about the player. I'm not like at 10 years old.
The heart behind the number.
That's exactly right. At 10 years old, I could tell you all the numbers. I could, back in those days, I could give you, the 34s and the 9s and the 58s. As I've gotten older, I haven't focused on the number, but I knew that DJ was number 1. So I was like, when I'm looking out the receivers, like, where the hell's 1? Okay. But regardless, it's true. The roster is better. We still have a ways to go here. Let's not go too far.
How about this one? Bear or not a bear? Aaron Cruikshank.
Bear.
Cruikshank sounds familiar. Huh. That one's something me right now. I can't even tell you what position.
Well, they had a safety last year. That was Cruikshank.
Dane
right?
Cruikshank.
Yeah.
Why do I know these old players?
Am I wrong?
Aaron Cruikshank.
I swear I heard an Aaron Cruikshank today.
Why would you have heard that? What are you listening to Jeff Joniak do play-by-play of practice?
I was looking at someone's roster or something. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. He is a Bear. He is a Bear. Nowhere number 84. Former Badger, by the way, Aaron Cruikshank. Talented returner who ended up transferring out of Wisconsin and heading back east where I believe he's from. He ended up at Rutgers. I think he's one of these players that was in college for 17 years and is now there are some guys that I'm like, how are you in college for that long? COVID. Everyone gets a COVID year.
You know what I learned today also is that Robert Tonyan has beautiful, beautiful flowing locks. He looks just absolutely dynamic. I mean, borderline. Let's get some style. Let's get some. What's her face's name? Who's that artist?
Who are we talking about? Not Taylor Swift, right?
Yeah, Taylor Swift.
Okay.
He's got that long hair. That dude, I'm not allowed to sing on the show anymore, but like that, I mean, Tonyan had presence, man. I'm excited for Tonyan.
Does have some nice flow. I'll give him that.
He's got a good flow.
Chase Allen, the tight ends maybe have some flow. He cut off his hair, though, Chase Allen. So someone had to retake that.
Well, good, because it would have been confusing if 18 and 81 had long hair.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think I could have dealt with that. All right, we have a super chat here I want to get to as well, but I just thought it was interesting that we had a fun game last year, Bear or not a Bear, that we're just making light and having a good time with. But now it's actually, I mean, there's certainly some candidates on this roster, but it's not as easy, which is a good sign for the Bears going forward. Tatum Weston here, $4.99 super chat. How did the offensive scheme look as far as offensive play calls? Looking at more of the route concepts and effectiveness against our defenses.
That's tough. It's tough to answer, Tatum.
Here's the reality. Appreciate the super chat, but we are not allowed to talk scheme or anything we see from practice, or they won't let us at practice anymore. That's just how it works. And so we can't go into specifically with the scheme. I think scheme wise though, it's year 2 of the same offense. I don't think that. I think you're just looking for things to be quicker, faster, more chemistry. And I will say that I think that we have seen more chemistry. Today was sort of a weird practice to observe. For one, they've gone 3 days in a row. Is that right though? Flus said that. Right. They practiced on Memorial Day.
He definitely said 3 days in a row.
I know he said that, but anyway, regardless of the reason, it was a shorter practice. It definitely was more. There was less team periods, and they already said that they're putting more emphasis on individual drills and fundamentals this time of year, which I totally agree with is a good idea. But the point being that there was less portions of practice than last week when we could really see team. Offensive versus defense, full scheme, and obviously they're not wearing pads anyway. I will say this though, when they got into 2-minute drill, that's where that crispness with Fields to DJ Moore right away was here they go. This is and they just and same thing when you brought up PJ Walker with Tyler Scott, that was the second team version of Justin Fields to DJ Moore. It was just boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden they're moving down the field, and I just think that that's a good. I mean, it's like I said last week, it's better than the alternative.
And you know what, guys? Like, even going back to the first OTA practice we got to see, like the big deep pass to DJ Moore, that was also in that 2-minute period. So even though it's about a week apart, we're seeing this, I guess, just cleanness in how the Bears are operating in that portion of practice. Again, we would love to see more and tell you more about it, but it seems like when it's that crunch time where there is limited time on the clock, the Bears know what they're doing. And it all goes back to Justin Fields operating the offense now that he's in year 2 with Luke Getsy.
It did. I would concur. It looks to me like Fields, and we got to be realistic here. He's in shorts. Guys are standing wide open. This is there. I mean, this is not a.
But Carm, I can't tell you how many practices I've seen where that's the case, and the wide open throws are not made.
Okay.
Or they're not, or the wide open guys are somehow still not seen.
All I'm saying is that he looks comfortable. There was one pass today. I don't know. It was just pitch and catch, no problem. And it just looked very easy for him. It's like, okay, I don't know if it's going to look like that come opening day against Green Bay, but it certainly was looking like that today. Every comment that is coming out from literally every coach is that this guy is on another level. So.
Which leads us,
yes, go ahead,
to one of these comments I wanted to bring up. Great question today from Stacey Dales from the NFL Network, asking Alan Williams, of all people, the Bears defensive coordinator. You go against this guy in practice. Your defense faces him every day. What are you seeing from Justin Fields? Alan Williams rattling off a bunch of different stuff. Leadership. I see good decision-making. That's what you want in your quarterback. I see improved accuracy. That's what you want in your quarterback, and how fast he's processing. So you have to be encouraged when you see those things. Now, is there a chance here that Alan Williams is just taking all the talking points? And because he did mention in his interview today, he reads and he listens to things. Hey, Alan, if you're watching the show, please rate and review. Leave a 5-star review. We appreciate you. At least hit the like button if you're on YouTube. I still, though, what I'm encouraged by is we hear these comments. It's one thing to hear them. And even though it's a small sample size, it's being backed up by what we're seeing on the field with our eyes. Is there a chance some of it's confirmation bias? Yeah, maybe, sure. I mean, let's see what it looks like when pads go on, and it's why it's all this whole thing's part of a process. But once again, for the 1,000th time in 2 weeks, I've seen the alternative so many times where I've seen coaches talk up Mitch Trubisky, and then you go out there on the practice field, and they're not connecting, and there's not chemistry, and you're like, well, are we just here on the wrong day? Are we not seeing, like, is this happening on Tuesday, but we're here on Wednesday? And you're just, but okay, 2 for 2 so far.
Yeah, and Adam, too, real quickly, when Eberflus was asked about, like, should this be expected, right, going into the second year of an offense? Eberflus did say that, but he also said, like, no one is putting in more work right now or has put in more work in this offseason than Justin Fields. And that's why you're seeing more of this offense looking a little cleaner in, like, those 2-minute situations we were just talking about. Him being able to connect with DJ Moore, even though he just got here, a couple months ago. But I think that all goes into, why this – is working so far, why we're seeing consistency in 2 OTA practices we've been able to go and watch with Fields, is because he's the hardest worker on the team, and he kind of has to be in order for this offense to get to that next level. So yeah, anybody you talk to is going to speak glowingly about Justin Fields, but to your point, we're seeing a better Justin Fields on the field, and I think that speaks more than anything than what any coach can say.
Throwing motion tighter. I'm reaching here, but just the way he's flowing around the field, it feels just more
good flowage.
It's a good flow. It's a good veteran-y. There's something that there's a familiar, this is what I do. This is who I am. I'm in control of the situation vibe that I'm getting from him. Now, I don't want to be like there was one throw today that he sailed down the middle that landed on the turf, and it was not it didn't look great. So there's moments where it's not all perfect every second here. But, and again, what you were just saying, Hoge, maybe I'm having some level of I really want this guy to be this, so I'm having some bias in seeing what I'm seeing. But it does feel like he's just that much more comfortable to me.
Yeah, but real quick, Law, can we put up your boy Boogie's
Damn right we can.
comment? Great username. If we could throw that up here, because this literally happened last year. Now that I'm seeing this comment, I'm remembering this. It happened a lot during the Trubisky years too, but this happened last year. I remember doing a show, Nick. I think I did it outside. I got to do an outside show soon. That's what that's reminding me of too. But your boy here says, I remember Adam would come on the podcast and tell us the QB didn't look great, and he would say, quote, "We have to report good or bad," quote, verbatim. So I believe Hoge. That's the reality. I remember Fields had a bad day. It may have been the first OTA practice that we got to watch last year. Maybe it was the first day of veteran minicamp. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look. But he had a bad day. And we had to come on the show and say he had a bad day. And everybody got mad about it. Nobody liked us that day. I don't know if we got 100 likes. We should have 100 likes on this show, by the way. Yeah, everyone was mad at us. And it's like, well, we're not going to come on the show and lie to you and say, yep, everything was great. He made every throw, even though that's not what happened. So that kind of gets back to what I've been saying the last 2 weeks. And for all we know, every other practice we haven't been able to see has been horrible. I doubt it, but we've seen two, and both have been good. I think last week was more impressive, but partially because of the way just practice was today. There just wasn't as many good reps to evaluate. But what we did have today, I still thought was pretty good.
Well, and look, I'll give you another time that the great, amazing CHGO Bears diehards and everybody else hated us too, is the Bears improved to 2-1 last year. They beat the Houston Texans. Roquan Smith had a huge interception, 23-20. Justin Fields that day was 8 for 17 for 106 yards, and he was sacked 5 times, and he threw 2 interceptions. He sucked. and we came on here and we were like, that is not what it's supposed to look like. This is bad. This sucks.
It was concerning.
It was super concerning.
Yeah.
And people hated it. But it needed to be like that was a win-loss. And it ended up, by the way, working out that the Texans came through for us in the end. But it could have really been a win-loss, but it didn't. At any rate, let's all hope that those days are behind us when he put up, that 8 for 17, 106, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Woof.
Quick comment here from Robert, and then I want to get to the other quote I wanted to share, and then I got to run out of here actually early because we got a big baseball practice we got to get to. There's a rumor has it that Greg Braggs is lurking too. Is lurking the right word?
I think so. I think lurking's accurate. He's
lurking.
Somewhere.
So watch out for that, especially because when we do these remote shows, all of a sudden the Braggs thing just pops out at you, and it's frightening. Robert Lee. So, guys, tell us from what you've seen of practice, is there an improvement in his mechanics and form? I think so. And why I'm going to say I think so is because our view has not been phenomenal, especially today. Really hard to tell, in my opinion, just details like that you really need to look at on video, but not to cop out of the answer. Like, the coaches are saying that the results have been good. And I do think things have been a tick faster, which is all they really need to be. Everyone's like on Justin, and I get it. And I have been too. It's not like he's got to reinvent everything here. He just needs to everything needs to be a tick faster, and that'll make a big difference. And I have seen that. Now, put the pads on. Live bullets. We're far away from that at this point. Do things slow down at that point? And I don't mean slow down like the game of football slowing down from when you want that part to happen. What I'm talking about is actual mechanics and decision making cannot slow down on like a real clock. And that's going to be the big question. I don't think we're going to have answers to until at least August. And quite frankly, not until the regular season starts.
Yeah, the only thing I have in my notes from both OTA practices, I wrote zip on pass and then rocket throw over the middle. So I noticed like the arm strength from Justin Fields, and he did have that, when he came into the league, but that's apparent. And I wonder if, just tweaking up a little bit in the mechanics, also affects that as well with the footwork, the timing, and the quickness of it. Like I do have that in my notes where like it's the ball still coming out quick, and the receivers better be ready for that because Justin Fields has a cannon.
And Robert, my perspective when we're watching it live, it's hard to tell, but when I've watched the videos, it looks faster to me. That thing looks very much a different motion, much more precise. It's got way less loop. It just feels like he has definitely tweaked that motion to be a little bit more quicker, accurate, all of it. And he's talked about it, like getting the ball out of there quickly. That's been his main focus this offseason.
All right, last thing I wanted to share, this is a completely different topic, but we did talk to Richard Hightower, special teams coordinator, today, and it's if you didn't see today's newsletter, CHGO Diehards, it's in there. I think when big rule changes happen in special teams with kickoffs, things like that, it's like, does this really matter? How much should I care about this? And I totally get that, but I think in the case of kickoffs, if you check out my newsletter, I try to explain it to you, like, you will not find a coach in the world that does not talk about field position as one of the biggest factors in football, which is why it's not like a complicated thing. The better your field position, the closer you are to the end zone when you start a drive, the higher percentage chance you have at scoring points. It's just how it works. So that's why coaches across the league were getting up in arms about this rule change. Where you can now fair catch a kickoff and move the ball to the 25-yard line. We don't have to get in the weeds with all that again. Check out my newsletter from this morning, or if you didn't see it, it's also at allchgo.com. What I did ask Richard Hightower, because there's plenty of people who believe that eventually kickoffs will be taken away. They just will bet, because maybe we'll save this for tomorrow. I can go into a little bit more of an in-depth discussion about like how moving the kickoff from the 30 to 35 and then moving the touchback from the 20 to 25 and how it's like a zigzag because they one helps the other side and the other doesn't. So there's no great solution to this. And I'm not sold that this rule change is going to fix anything either. But I asked Richard Hightower today if he can envision an NFL or picture an NFL without the kickoff. And I just loved his answer. So I wanted to share this. He said, I don't. Me personally, no. I think when you talk about football, you talk about basketball, you talk about baseball, what do they say? What time is first pitch? What time is tip-off? And what do you say for a football game? When's kickoff? It's a part of the game. And that's certainly a sentiment I think shared by, many coaches. When's kickoff, Carm?
Yeah, look, I'm old school as old school can be over here, baby. Don't be getting rid of kickoffs. And it's a whole nother discussion too.
Yeah.
But for me, look, football is a dangerous game. It's always been a dangerous game. And people like to play football and do dangerous things. People like to drive fast. They like to jump out of planes. They like to do all sorts of stuff that's probably not the best choice for your health, but they get a rush out of it. So, to be on kickoff, these are some insane people. You're running as fast as you possibly can, and you're trying to make a tackle. But there's an excitement about it because it's fun. And yes, people are going to get hurt on it. People are going to get hurt playing the game of football. That's never going to change. Like when they were trying to make the game safer, I was like, just put a waiver out there, have them sign it. Football's dangerous. I might not be able to think when I'm 50. You talk to any of the old school players, would you have done this again? They 99.9% of them say they would. So, but that's a long-winded way of me saying that I don't think kickoff's going away either.
And I'm gonna tease this. We're gonna go into this more tomorrow on tomorrow's show. Let's put it in there right now because there's some actual data. And you'd be surprised when you add up all the crap that the NFL threw out there, how many concussions this will actually save. And is it really worth and by the way, you can't really prove it, what their number is. And even if it is accurate, it's like all this for that many. So we'll talk about that more tomorrow when we have more time. I have to roll. I think Braggs is waiting and standing by, so he's going to jump in here for the rest of the show. Don't worry, the guys are going to get you wrapped up with everything else that happened at Halas Hall. So I'm going to leave you with this. The gear built to last. the sunglasses that get me through OTAs at Halas Hall. That, of course, is Shady Rays, and our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. They're an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames, extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures, and the best part is, if you lose them, if you break them, they have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Even if it happens on day one, they told us that they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. Together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. through Shady Rays Impact. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair, return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. Exclusive for our listeners. And actually, it's still May 31st. So the Shady Rays Memorial Day sale is still going live right now. Go to shadyrays.com. You'll get 35% off all sunglasses right now. So try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
All right, Hoge, we will see you tomorrow, brother. And this is the first time that we're ever doing a line change. I'm very excited about it. So switch out Hoge, bring in Braggs. Can I see how this looks? There goes Hoge. Hi, Nick. I feel like we're in the same room. Now, can we bring in... Oh, yeah. Look at that. What an exciting moment in the history of the pod. But before we get to Braggs, get fitted out in the best sports gear around. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. It's spring, of course. Getting to summer. It's baseball season. Get your Aloha shirt. Get your straw hat. Get your polo. Get your bags. Everything you need for the game. Check out foco.com, or you can click the link in the description below. For all non-pre-sale items, use that promo code CHGO for 10% off as we welcome in Brick by Brick, who always lifts the ball up to new levels as he's wearing his shirt today. Gregory, welcome. Anything standing out to you? Anything you need to get off your chest here? I know you've been just living on Twitter and yelling at Packers fans about their enjoyment on a Jordan Love completion.
Well, I just find it's just a simple observation. I mean, Packers fans are now doing what Bears fans do and hyping up a quarterback that they really can't prove is good or not yet. We've been doing that for decades. So now I'm starting to sense that they're doing the same thing. So I don't know if Jordan Love will be good or bad, but I do know that's a sign. That's a sign that we're heading in the right direction. The Packers are more like us, one of us now. Hopefully not for long if Justin Fields can take the next step. I mean, to me, that's the biggest takeaway from the day is, Alan Williams saying he feels like Justin Fields is processing faster. It'd be one thing if Luke Getsy, Matt Eberflus, obviously they're all Bears. What are they going to say? He's not looking good. No, he's not going to say that. I get it. But last year at this time, during OTAs, the quote was, "We're not there yet. We're not ready." That's what they were talking about in regards to Justin Fields. So now this year comes around, new pieces in place. They could easily say the same thing. Hey, we got new moving parts. We're not ready yet. We're good, but we're not ready. No, what they're saying is he's processing faster, making quicker decisions. Two more throws to DJ Moore today. That's stuff that gets me excited as a Bears fan. So that's definitely my biggest takeaway.
That's a good point, Greg. And I think the only thing that they will maybe the little pushback is they just got to get the chemistry down. I think they know it can work. It's just once they all get on the same page and actually get more and more of those reps, like we're already seeing through 2 OTA practices that we've been able to attend, that these guys are going to be able to be what Andrew Janocko, Luke Getsy want them to be, the focal point of this offense, is that passing game. And it's going to start with Justin Fields, obviously. So that's a good point to reflect back on. There's a lot of newness and them they weren't there yet, but Justin Fields is now, he's been through this. He knows who his number 1 wide receiver is. He knows who he's going to throw to. So that definitely helps with the whole operation of things on the offensive side.
Well, and that's the other point. When they said last year, we're not ready yet. I mean, we always think of everything through a player's lens, but it's the coaches too. You bring up Andrew Janocko and Luke Getsy. Were they ready to call what they thought was going to be the offense last year? No, it took them 6 weeks into the season to figure out how they wanted to call plays for Justin Fields and the pieces around him. So now you've had a full season. not just the players, but the coaches to understand how they want to run this system with Justin Fields. And now you've got a bit of a head start, even if there are new moving parts to build chemistry with. I think that's just another point that we, covering the team don't talk about as much. Everything is hyper focused on the players, but the coaches this year have just as much of a leap to make as the players do. And they've now had a whole year to get their feet set, and it's time now to show the fruits of their labor.
It's an interesting angle because I would agree with you that, like, what's the next level for Luke Getsy in understanding how best to use DJ Moore and how best to use Robert Tonyan and how to get Tyler Scott acclimated and even bring Darnell Mooney back in the fold. And I guess the number one thing would be finally getting Chase Claypool off the deck here and having him be a huge part of this offense, because it feels like a wild card. Is he or is he not? And if he is, along with DJ and Mooney healthy and everything else, then that offense maybe starts to sing. I don't feel the same necessarily way with Alan Williams, but maybe I'm just giving him too much of a benefit of the doubt because I just look at that defense last year like, what do you want this guy to do?
And it's Matt Eberflus's defense too. That's the other half of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which, speaking of that, maybe we can get Cornelius's chat in here, Lawrence, because this is a little interesting point from our guy who's always hanging out with us, and we appreciate it in this 10 minutes of Greg Bragg's post-game, pre-game, whatever you want to call it, OTA extravaganza. Cornelius,
not at the pool this time.
Yeah, not at the pool, which I want to ask you about. But yeah, if the defense starts off bad, giving up 30 points a game, do you guys think there's a chance that Matt Eberflus can take over the play calling? Nick, I'll let you handle that because I'm not actually clear, like, how much he's impacting that play calling now.
Yeah, I think I know Matt Eberflus was asked about it last year, and I'm trying to remember, paraphrase exactly what he said, but I know that Alan Williams has his own wrinkle on things, and I wonder how handicapped. Just look at the defense last year, you guys, and the lack of playmakers that were on that unit. And obviously, when you don't have any guys up front, it's going to make it difficult to stop anything. But if this is a circumstance going into this season, you have to look for something. You have to change something on that unit because they do have capable playmakers at the linebacker level, especially in the interior of the defensive line, and then your secondary. So if that's the case, you're giving up 30 points per game, going into in the 2023 season. That could be a possibility. It seems like, look, Eberflus, I think, has a good connection with all of his coaching staff. But yeah, if that's a circumstance, you have to change something on that unit.
I'll tell you this, Cornelius, outside of the play calling, just looking at the defense line up today and seeing 49 Tremaine Edmonds out there, dude looks like a player. He just does. And we got a ways to go, but there is more size on that defensive line. The Travis Gibson report came out of nowhere yesterday. That all of a sudden he's on the next level, but Alan Williams did underline him today when I asked the question today, like, who has gotten bigger? And he said everyone, but then he underlined that he said Gibson. So I was hoping when I asked that question today that he was going to say Dominic Robinson, because that's a guy who I think if he can get a little more poundage on him, a little more flexibility along with that strength, it could take a big leap, but didn't get that answer. We got Gibson, which would be perfectly fine. Travis, I had high hopes for him last year. I think we all did, and it didn't quite happen. Braggs, you're smiling. Something's going on over there.
Sorry, I'm talking to the chat when I should be paying attention. But no, to me, if the defense is struggling, Eberflus is not going to stop being the CEO of the team. I think he has moved to that role. So, no, I don't think there will be at any point Matt Eberflus takes over play calling. If it gets so bad, you could see Alan Williams get on the hot seat. We'll see if that, comes to fruition, but I think that would be the first step before that's a panic mode thing. When you start giving up the play calling, AKA Matt Nagy, and then taking it back and he doesn't know what he wants to do. That's when you're, on your last legs as a head coach. So I don't see that being the case. To me, when you guys did your confidence picks last week and talking about how many sacks, who would anybody get 10 sacks? I thought the better question is, last year, a safety led the team in sacks, not anybody on the defensive line. So my question to you guys is, do you think a non-defensive line player will again lead the team in sacks? Because you bring up Tremaine Edmonds, you bring up talk about this linebacking core, and Eberflus is going to send pressure. He's going to have to, So I wonder, will it be 2 years in a row that somebody not on the D line leads?
Gregory, Nick.
That's a good. Well, Eberflus was asked, "Do you want that to be the case where your safety is leading the team in sacks?" Like, you're correct that I don't want him to be the leader in sacks this upcoming season. I'm going to say no, though. I don't think it's going to be a linebacker. I do think one of these defensive ends, and I don't think it's going to be a very high number, 7 or 8, might do it for this Bears team in terms of who's actually going to lead the unit in sacks. But Travis Gibson, I talked to Travis Smith, the defensive line coach for the Bears, and they're moving Travis Gibson to both sides now. When you had Robert Quinn here last season, you saw Travis Gibson exclusively to, I believe, would be the left side. In today's practice, we even saw him lining up left, right. So I think he's going to have a little bit more opportunities to rush the quarterback. I'm not saying that's the guy who's going to lead the team in sacks, but I do think that the defensive line will be a leader in that group, and how it should be, right?
I'll say this if it is Travis Gibson, that would be awesome for the Bears. That would be a guy having a breakout year in his 4th season, and that would also mean that he's doing that because he's getting help in the middle from Dexter. He's getting help in the middle from Pickens. He's like, this is all happening. He ain't doing it on his own. So let's go fingers crossed on that one. 15 minutes of Greg Braggs to wrap up the show here. This is an outstanding opportunity for Gregory to get anything else off his chest. Anything you've.
This is a big night for both of us, Mark. Not to move off football, but we're awaiting Chase Audige and Zach Edey's decision. They have until 11 o'clock tonight to make the decision. I care. Trust me. I've been refreshing my Twitter feed
I know
all
you
day
do.
long
I know
to find
you
out
do.
if the National Player of the Year is going to return to Purdue.
Well, hold on. I'm just cutting you off. Jaylon Johnson, Nate Davis, your thoughts. Do you care that they're not here?
My prediction now is that Jaylon Johnson will be traded at the halfway point of the season, like Roquan Smith was.
You think in the halfway point?
Yeah, I think he's moving in the same direction as Roquan. Disgruntled, negotiating tables not working right between the two. They have a difference of opinion on value. This is the most he'll be valuable to trade for Ryan Poles. You could potentially get a similar return as you got for Roquan, with cornerback being a more premier position in this league. Somebody that's a Super Bowl contender looking at a cornerback. If it gets all the way to that point halfway through the season and they still haven't worked out a deal, regardless of where the Bears are at as far as competing this year, because I know people, including myself, are, excited about the potential of the Bears having a surprise season. You got to do what's best long-term for this team, and Ryan Poles is going to continue to look long-term. So, I think that there's a potential for that.
Playing that out, that would not be good. All right. That would mean that the Bears are having a bad start to the season. That would mean that you'd almost be talking about tanking if you were trading Jaylon in the middle of the year. So let's hope that it does not. I don't think
that's the case. I really don't. It's just at the end of the day, if you can't get him re-signed, the Bears are going to be competing to win games this year. They're not actively trying to tank like they were last year, but at the end of the day, you don't necessarily want them to walk for nothing. So there would be a couple contingencies: how Jaylon Johnson plays the first half of the season, and then how the other guys around him, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, how they're playing too. They're not just going to do it the same way they did with Roquan, but I think there is the chance for it.
All right. Listen, I'm not saying that Jaylon is, if they traded Jaylon now, that'd be some form of tank. Clearly, they're trying to win football games this year. However, if in the middle of the season you trade what will be still your number one cornerback, That's not a move to try to win football games. It just isn't. And there's no way you're going to tell me that Tyreek Stevenson and Kyler Gordon are ready to step into that, and that Kindle Vildor is going to fill whatever that they need. Jaylon Johnson, man, they need him.
Oh yeah,
they definitely do.
Agree.
And another guy, like maybe that says something about Terrell Smith, the other corner at the Bears draft out of Minnesota. Like he's ascending, but that would be I think for what the secondary did last year with no pass rush, I think they have an opportunity to exceed their own expectations maybe of what they can do in 2023 if they do get some help from some guys like DeMarcus Walker, who I know has been in the chat here. People are excited about what he can do. Travis Gibson, Dominique Robinson, like secondary can make some plays here. They made a lot of plays when they didn't have much of anything last season.
Gregory, good to see you. Appreciate everybody jumping in today. I assume we don't have any more super chats. I don't think we do, Lawrence. We're good there. And we are back tomorrow at noon with a robust show. And Bragalicious, you want to talk about anything that's going on in your pool? Because every time
my daughter's 5-year-old turns 5 today. So we're going to go open presents as soon as I get upstairs. That's why I stepped away for a minute while I was behind the scenes, filming her coming up the stairs, seeing her presents and balloons. So we're excited for that. I don't know if I'm more excited for that or the Zach Edey announcement. But also, we got Vanderpump Rules reunion tonight. You guys know nothing about that, but high octane television. There's a lot going on here tonight at the Braggs household.
I don't want to be too dialed into how many people are watching us, but there were 561 people watching, and then you mentioned Zach Edey return, and we went down 100.
Well, make sure you hit the like button on the way out, and if you tuned in late to hear my dumbass talk about Zach Edey, watch the beginning of the show when our guy Adam Hoge gave some good information. But I thought I brought it for my 15 minutes. Come on.
You were great. You were great as always, brother. We
bold prediction to end the show.
Yeah.
That's what I said it already. Jaylon Johnson traded at the
okay.
Well, that was a bold. That was 100% was. Good to see everybody today. It was fun to be out there with you, Nick, and our guy Sir Hoge. We're back tomorrow at noon. Lawrence, thank you for producing. Thanks for checking out the show today. And as per always, as we say goodbye here, bear the hell down.